it's supposed to feel.
All right, what's going on, beautiful people? It is the North Shore 9 Postgame Show. I am Tyler. With me is Neil.
How are we doing?
Neil, the Phillies are kind of good.
They're very. They ran out their Hanover B team here, and they scored 7 runs tonight. It was kind of depressing.
Yeah, I really do think it just comes back to the Phillies. They're a pretty good baseball team. There's a reason they win the World Series. They're a good team.
100%. They are terrifying if they come up against in October.
Yeah,
and that's because they have Garrett Stubbs hitting 3-run nukes. You know, they're just a well-built baseball team.
Yeah, they are. Pirates lose this one 7-6. We are closing in on the end of the season. We had Johan Oviedo's last start of the year.
Mm-hmm.
We've both been on the same page here.
Yeah,
we didn't need to see much more from Johan Oviedo. We're good on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we saw why tonight.
Yeah, he hasn't looked good in a month. I don't think. I think the last show we were on was the Cubs game where he went 6 scoreless, but like he had no business going 6 scoreless, and tonight he got punished. He needs to be done. Like, great season, not disappointed at all. Don't let him pitch again.
Yeah. Well, thankfully he doesn't have to pitch again.
That's right. We're finally, and now we just get to wonder if Keller gets the ball on Sunday, but that was last night. That was last night's topic. So
yeah, thankfully I am just like Johan Oviedo. My post-game season is over after tonight.
All right, I got one more.
I am tapped out on the year, so if they want to toss Mitch Keller out there, please don't. But
yeah,
I don't have to talk about it. Either way, to talk about Johan Oviedo tonight, Pirates lose this one, like I said, 7-6. Johan Oviedo gives up, honestly, just a lot of runs.
Yeah.
A lot of what we've seen from Johan Oviedo, he's either lights out or he is what he was tonight. The concerning part to me is that his velo was down 2 miles an hour.
Yeah. I mean, he was still generating swings and misses, like, which is the crazy thing. But, his 4-seam was sitting, 94. Sometimes he was hitting 92. Like, he is gassed. And when you're gassed, you're going to let Christian Pashy hit you around a bit. It's unfortunate because I feel like his numbers look so much worse because he shouldn't be pitching this much, and he has to go 5 innings, no matter what. Like, on a competent team that employs 5 starters, Johan Oviedo is out of this game way sooner. After the 4th inning, you call it quits. And instead, because we only have 2 starting pitchers, he has to suffer a bit. And I think that's what ultimately cost us the game, is just no pitching depth.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his line, he struck out 6. He got swings and misses like he usually does. Mm-hmm. He only walked 2. It's just that whenever you're at the point in the year where you've never thrown this much really in your life,
mm-hmm.
especially the amount of competitive innings that he's had to throw this year,
mm-hmm.
and he's pitched in a lot of high-stress situations. Really, if you look at his line tonight, he threw a decent bit of strikes. He was like 62% strike rate. That's okay. You can live with that from an Johan Oviedo, but the command's not as sharp as it should be. The slider, you can see it start to fall off a little bit, and he's a guy that when he's tired, you can see it. because
Yeah.
he has to go to that slider as a just get me over pitch.
Yeah, and like he's looked like that for 3 or 4 starts. Like every time you take the mound, you can tell he's exhausted. And I think we talked about last time. Like, love how much of a competitor he is. You love how he always wants to take the ball every 5th day.
Yep.
But he is reaching his physical limitations right now, and I still think there's a lot of positives that you can build on for next year. But it's been rough to watch the month of September.
Yeah, it has been. There's a lot of guys I think you could say it's been rough pitching wise in September.
Yeah.
Oviedo's definitely a guy that we're good here, guys. Like we don't need much more of this.
Yeah. No, I agree. And like again, I don't want to I don't want him in the rotation next year because he's got to be like, and he's good. Like I like him a lot. But I don't like these risks on games that mean nothing. I'm happy that like they're trying to instill like every game is a playoff game kind of culture to like get the players playing hard, and I think that's worked. But at some point, you just got to be like, this is stupid.
Yeah,
this is reckless, and this is really sounding like your guys' post game last night. So I need to get off. I need to stop talking.
Well, I mean, when the same thing happens 2 nights in a row.
Yeah, and obviously they know more than we do. Like they know more about the pitcher's health than we do. I just assume the worst is always going to happen for the Pirates, and so I don't want anyone blowing their elbows out in September 26th, 27th.
Yeah, it all seems very unnecessary right now. There's enough guys I think that you could call up at this point to maybe just give you a few innings.
I guess. Like who? like Jared Jones?
Yeah, like honestly, I would take a start from Jared Jones, or hell, just throw a bullpen game out there again. You've done it enough times in games that actually matter that you can do it here when there's there's 6 games left. Now 5. We're good. We don't maybe 4. I don't even know. I don't know what day it is anymore. Everything just runs together, but there are very limited games left.
I'm assuming tomorrow's a bullpen day.
Yeah, you would think that's kind of the way it goes the rest of the year.
Because Falter's on the IL. I guess you might throw Priester out there for 4 innings.
Sure.
I don't know.
4, 5, 6 games, whatever. I don't. Like I said, I don't know what day it is at this point. I had to ask at work what day it was multiple times today.
No, I feel you. It was
life is a blur.
If we were competing for something, it might be a different story. But
right,
it's just sad because like this was a very winnable game, and when you go up 5-0 and you don't win the game, that's a problem.
No, you're absolutely right, and let's just get to that.
Yeah,
the Pirates do take a 5-0 lead.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good things offensively, I would say. If there's something to take out of this September, I would say just the offense's improvement in general. And unfortunately, that probably does lead to a Andy Haynes redemption tour next year.
I think the Pirates could have had the worst offense in baseball in September, and Andy Haynes would still be back. So I don't think this changes a thing. I think the front office is too smug and too like egotistical to like acknowledge fault. So
fair,
but no, but Jared Triolo looks like a whole different player. Jack Sawinski is swinging the baseball bat, and good things are happening.
We're in one of them low phases right now where he's hitting well.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, like you can like look at what Jack Sawinski's doing right now and you can see tangible like changes at the plate. I understand being skeptical. Like I 100% like not buying into Jack because I'm not fully there yet. But like Jack swinging the baseball bat is good. He should do it more often.
I've been to the homecoming dance before and I got left alone many a times. Like that's the Jack Sawinski story here.
No, that's fair. I mean, I'll probably say this, and then he'll come up and go 2 for 63 in spring training again. It's the circle of life, but
Yeah.
I guess you gotta look up to something you can hold on to, because he's gonna be on the team next year.
He will.
Like, he's going to be your everyday center fielder, whether you like it or not. So,
Yeah, I mean, I guess just to get on about the offense tonight. Connor Joe, 4 hits. Title says it alone. Jared Triolo reaches base 4 times. Brian Hayes had a good night. A lot of good things at the plate. Where do you want to start with that, really? Because Connor Joe, maybe
I guess
we
the
just
first
knock him
inning.
out real quick.
Yeah, we can do
Because
Connor.
like he's Connor Joe.
Mhm.
He'll be here next year. He's gonna have nights like this. I don't know if any of his hits were particularly impressive.
Nope, a solid 3 singles and a little double kind of night, But
Yeah, and the double was on a broken bat.
yeah, I forgot about
So-
that. Yeah, no, like, he's a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah.
And the more Major League Baseball players we employ, the better team we will be.
Right.
I really like him as just like a lefty platoon option at first and short and right field next year. That's really all he should be playing. He should get into 60, 70 games a year max and be productive there, and I like him.
No, I'm completely with you. I think Connor Joe's done a good job of showing that he belongs on a major league roster, and he's not one of those fringe players, I think, that we discuss a lot, where we talk about whether they should be on the team next year. Connor Joe should be on a major league roster next year, and the Pirates should employ him.
Yes.
They will employ him because he's cheap, and you know what? Hand up here. Well, I'll just say it now because me and you were on last time. Ethan brought up that he's probably going to be a Super 2 guy. So he is not pre-arb. I want to throw that out there right now because Ethan did correct us after that game.
All right.
Either way, he has a lot of control here.
Okay, well, I'll stop believing what Spotrac tells me about contracts.
Yeah,
but
he's probably a Super 2 guy.
Okay.
According to Ethan. But either way, he's a guy that deserves to be on a major league roster. He's a guy that this team should employ. And he's also a guy that should be employed probably more carefully, I would say, where you use him as more of a role player. He has shown this year, I think he's not a major league player, or he's not an everyday player. He's on the right side of the platoon, and he can play probably both corners, and he's shown this year he can play a pretty capable first base.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I mean, he's also, even if he is ARB eligible, how much is a 100 WRC plus corner bat really going to cost? So yeah, no, I like him. But I wish we could just like have him, Jack, like have an actual center fielder. So like Jack Sawinski never has to face a left-handed pitcher ever again.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be a nice thing to do, but our options are like Harrison Bader and like, what's that guy from the Nationals? Victor Robles. So like, you're not looking at great center field options. So I mean,
yeah,
probably Connor Joe's our starting right fielder next year, and I think that's a mistake.
But either way, like he deserves to be on the team next year. I think
100%.
You can pencil in Connor Joe either way.
He's
yes. going to be on this roster.
Yep.
It was a good night for him.
I'm good with Connor Joe.
Absolutely. You want Neil? I've talked enough about Jared Triolo. You know what? Hand up here. I've been on this show. This is my 4th day in a row. People are tired of hearing me talk. Tell me about Jared Triolo because I've pretty much said my piece on him for the last 3 days.
I have no idea how he's hitting so well because it's not like he hits the ball particularly hard.
It's getting better.
He's getting better, but he's not like the most like athletic hitter of all time, but he is grinding out some really, really good at bats.
To be fair, I don't know how he fields that well either, because
Oh
he is a
no,
giant
yeah, like
who
he's
has
a tank.
very limited athleticism.
Let me put it this way. Even if he's not, I think you mentioned this on Starbucks, where like his BABIP is just so unsustainable right now.
It is.
Even if that comes down to earth, like he is also someone you slot in next year as at the very least a utility bench player.
Yeah.
My worry is that they play him at first base next year, which it might be the dumbest thing you could ever do with Jared Triolo. But no, he's been great. I don't think he's going to be more than like a league average hitter long term. I just don't think he has the power,
Dude.
But
Neil, if he's a league average hitter, he's like a 3-win player.
That's what I mean, But we also just have a lot of defensive first guys who are projecting to be league average bats. You're looking at ND. He's looked awful, but ND's a good glove, supposed to be a league average bat. You got Brian Hayes. Now you're adding Jared. We have a lot of average bats on this team.
Yeah, I mean, one of them has to break out a little bit.
Yeah, well, hopefully Brian Hayes is that guy next year too.
Yeah.
As he continues to try to pass Jack Suwinski in OPS, but it looks like that race is run. Jack woke up enough.
Brian Hayes has been really freaking good, dude.
Yes, he has.
Like, it's been like 2 months of Brian Hayes being really good.
It's been since like the beginning of June.
It has, but there was that IL stint that kind of broke it up, and he's just been so darn good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he was really good tonight. 2 hits, 2 runs. You would always like him to walk a little bit more, but I'll take this every day of the week. He's at 15 homers. Playing over a full season, he's a 20 homer bat now, which is kind of crazy to think about since he hasn't had double-digit home runs in his life.
Yeah.
I don't even think he had that in the minors. But no, his
slugging percentage just went through the roof.
Yeah. He's now like a 5-win player over a full course of a season. And it's not just held up by his defense.
Yeah, and I think even late in the game, he did strike out late, but that at bat just looked different from Brian Hayes. He doesn't look as off balanced. It's really lame to say, but he just looks comfortable. Yes, he looks like a guy that's like the swing's starting to come together a little bit, because me and you, I think, have joked before about it. Whenever he would go on a hot streak, we would say, like, I don't know how he's hitting because the swing is so terrible. Right now, his swing actually looks like he's on time with everything.
Yeah, and I think before the hot streak, I think it was May where I was just sitting there. I'm like, he doesn't make good contact. He doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't look like he even wants to be at the plate. It was always a strikeout or a weak pop fly. That's what it felt like all the time. And now he is destroying the baseball on a nightly basis.
Yeah, he does not want the season to end.
Yeah. And that's going to be the one thing I really miss when the Pirates stop playing, because, there's a whole lot of stuff I could do without from the season. Brian Hayes' resurgence is something that gives me life.
Yeah. I don't want the season to end for him, because I just want to watch him continue to hit baseballs.
We'll send him on loan to the Phillies.
I don't need that. I know enough people that, I guess, root for the Phillies that I don't really want to do things well.
That's fair. That's entirely fair. But I mean, speaking of another vet, when Brian Reynolds extended his hitting, I don't know what the broadcast said. I just know he's got an on-base streak for a while now. I don't know the exact amount of days.
It's in the 20s.
Is it really?
I believe it's like 23 or 24 at this point.
Okay.
He's been very, very good for quite some time. I said it last night. I'm a lot more comfortable with where Brian Reynolds is at this point, because there were points in this year where jumping on PlayStation with Jim and Donardo, I'm like, So if Brian Reynolds kind of stinks, does this
Mhm.
kill the franchise?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. There is a little bit too much riding on Brian Reynolds just because he got paid so much.
And he really didn't get paid that much, but
No, he
still,
didn't.
no,
But
relatively, yeah.
He's getting paid slightly higher than what we gave Ivan Nova per year. To give you some perspective. But
Good point.
Yeah, we're a disaster of a franchise. But yeah, it's not like the superstar I think like we all like really want. Like I think we all really want 2021 Brian Reynolds back. But like for a guy who's so reliable, it's worth every dollar that we've paid him.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, he's been pretty healthy all year. Really,
Mhm.
in his entire career, he's been pretty healthy. Makes me feel a little bit more comfortable about him. And really, we're only looking at one really bad year. That was the COVID year where everybody
Yeah.
was bad or really good.
Yeah, the Pirates in general were mentally checked out.
Yeah, me too.
But I mean, if you're talking about next year, if Cabrian Hayes continues to break out, you still have if you still have Cabrian Hayes breaking out, you still have Brian Reynolds hitting like he does. You start introducing O'Neal Cruz back into the fold. It makes filling out the rest of the roster a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like those are three like bats you can actually depend on.
Right.
You need Jack Sawinski in there because we don't hit home runs. Those are like four. There's at least four places in the lineup plus two solid bench players. Like you can start filling a pretty decent lineup around that.
And that's the other thing to point out with Brian Reynolds at this point is the home runs are back with him.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a point where he had to hit the ball over the wall because they needed home runs.
Yeah.
Now we're back to Brian Reynolds. He's going to finish the year with 24, 25 home runs. You live with that every day.
Yeah. He a 25 home run bat, 120 WRC plus type of guy, 130. You will take that every day of the week.
Yeah, you're not getting that in free agent market.
No. Like that is going to be way out of your price range, and we are paying him so much less than what he could have gotten if he went to the open market.
Yeah.
So we are blessed.
Well, I guess since this might be my last post-game show of the year, I don't know yet, but I might have filled in at some point this week. A lot of week left. Just talk to me here, Neil.
All right.
What are your overall opinions on the Pirates in 2023?
Missed potential. We wasted this year for no reason. It's encouraging, intriguing even to see the Pirates play such good baseball since the deadline. It is really nice to see them playing at I think it's 90 win pace for a solid 2 months. Seeing them play like the 2020 Pirates for 3 months is just killer.
Yeah.
And I guess, I don't know. I don't see it just feels like a waste. I've enjoyed a lot of it, but this was a waste of a season when we really didn't need to be this bad. That's my overall thoughts.
Yeah, I think I'd probably call it ironically disappointing.
Yeah,
because it's about at the level I thought it would be at, but it should have been better.
The highs were just so high. Like when you start off 20-8,
yeah,
that's when the rookies are supposed to come up. The Reds have fallen off a bit, but I always compare us to the Reds because they at least saw an opportunity and they went for it.
Yeah.
And they have the conviction, the desire to go win. And that's, I think, my biggest worry about the front office is that they will not have the conviction or the desire to make the moves next year to make us truly competitive. I think they're going to be like, well, we'll win 83 games next year, and that'll be good enough. And I don't think it's good enough. We're going to be on year 5.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I think the biggest disappointment of this year is just not having O'Neal Cruz.
yeah, we were deprived of what should have been his breakout year.
Yeah. Or at least just more information. We didn't get that information.
And like he looked really good. Like it to open up the year, his defense looked a lot better. His approach at the plate was much better. He wasn't chasing. Like you could see the progression at the end of 2022. Like there was a lot to be excited about. And he probably does add like another 3-4 wins to this ball club. We are not trotting out the gaggle of idiots we had at shortstop all throughout the year. I would also say it's disappointing because I really the rookies haven't been good.
Yeah.
I think Henry Davis is getting better. I think since coming back from the IL, he's looked a lot more comfortable at the plate.
I would agree.
Endy has looked horrible at the plate. Completely lost. Figueroa fell off a cliff. Triolo is playing out of his mind. I don't know how sustainable it is, but we don't have a single pitching success. And that's what worries me because when we were good, we were getting good quality pitching.
Yeah.
I don't know where that rotation. I don't know what the rotation is next year.
Yeah. So Ortiz and Contreras both doing what they've done this year really does hamper the future a little bit, I think.
100%. You just needed one of those guys, like not even to be like a frontline starter. You just needed one of them to be what Johan Oviedo was this year.
Now, that's not saying you can't win with both those guys just turning into pumpkins. I mean, 2013 through 15, they really didn't have a pitching success. Like Garrett Cole, maybe. But for the most part, it was the bargain bin that they figured it out with. And to be fair to this front office, I think they've done pretty well in that department.
I would agree.
You're really playing a cruel game there, though, where you have to hit.
Well, the real problem is that I think the market is we paid Rich Hill $8 million this year. We paid Jose Quintana $2 million to go out and have a 3-WAR season before we traded him. Like the market is getting to the point where I feel like we're going to be priced out even out of like who should be the bargain bin options. Unless you think Vince Velasquez is going to come in and
he's probably out till like June.
Is he really?
He had Tommy John. I'd assume he's out.
I didn't even realize he had Tommy John. I've been so checked out about him. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, unless you're dependent on JT Brubaker, who I think would be fantastic in the bullpen.
Also might be out for at least the first month.
Yeah. Same with Burrows.
Yeah.
You're kind of hoping that Jared Jones is ready to go. Opening day, you're hoping you can introduce Solomito. You're hoping you can introduce I don't think Bubba Chandler will be any time ready, but Skeens. Like those are unless like you're going to make big flashes in free agency for an Aaron Nola, I don't know how we're going to win enough games. Like the pitching, like we've won a lot of games since the All-Star break. The pitching has been atrocious. And that's because we keep throwing bullpen games. It's not like a terrible surprise, but that's my biggest concern. And I think
I don't disagree at all.
Yeah.
The pitching is the biggest concern going in next year. I think we've seen some good steps by Mitch Keller, not as good as I think we would have hoped.
Yeah.
Oviedo, I think, has gone above and beyond of what we hope, but he's also not a guy that you can really rely on.
Yeah.
And then there's question marks everywhere. If you squint hard enough, I think you can maybe see some sort of future here.
Yeah. You can't there is like a path forward where you can see a competitive team. I think a lot has to go right.
It does.
And so far I don't trust like the development to make it go right. But, you know,
Lightning in a bottle, baby. Let's catch it.
I would not be upset.
No.
But yeah, no, I mean, again, it was a lot more pleasant to watch baseball this year.
Yeah.
In 2022, I would like in 2022, I was watching the first 3 innings, see how badly we would be losing by, and then turn the game off.
Listen,
This year,
I did post-game shows in September of last year.
Oh.
I was ready to quit everything.
Yeah. That sounds like a miserable time.
But the team was much more competitive, at least down the stretch this year.
Yeah.
At least we got to see some of these young guys. Like I said, closing in on the end of it. I am excited a little bit to see some of these guys in the winter leagues, Arizona Fall League.
Mm-hmm. There's a couple in nice pitchers. I'm mostly excited about Carter Binns, but myself. But
I'm sure you are.
My 28-year-old AAA catcher.
Yeah. Neil, I don't think we talked a bit about this show, and we're 30 minutes in. So, do you want to just wrap this up?
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
I think we're good here.
Yeah. I think I said it beforehand. That that's somehow the most boring 7-6 loss I've ever witnessed.
Truthfully, it was the most boring 7-6 loss ever. All right, let's get out of here. Pirates loses 1-7-6. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.